Good morning, everyone. James Gennaro here for Community Living Toronto. Thank you very much for joining. And the latest in our series of COVID-19 updates for family and friends. Let me just get our slide deck going here so you can see it. There we go. And just give me a thumbs up. Can you see the slide deck? There, great. Thank you. So thanks everyone for joining on this somewhat gray but nice and snowy, at least here in the Toronto region, morning. We've got not a ton to cover this morning because things are actually looking quite good here at Community Living Toronto, but we have plenty of time for questions after the presentations. We're also slightly short on speakers this morning, so it'll just be Angela Bradley and I talking to you this morning as both Brad and Jesse get some much needed rest outside of our area, enjoying some time away. And so we're covering off for them today. So as always, you can ask your questions using the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. We'll take your, I'll do a moderated I will moderate the Q&A and we will take your questions after our presentations this morning. So anytime, drop your questions in there and we'll answer as many of them as we can this morning. I will say though off the bat that in the absence of Jesse, our ability to answer science-related questions is fairly limited. Certainly neither Angela, Jennifer Steffler, nor I are science people. We consume a lot of information, but certainly don't feel comfortable giving sciencey type advice beyond what you would see in the media or something like that. So just a heads up, hold on to those for next broadcast when Jesse's back. So as I say, short agenda this morning, welcome and intro from me, and then Andrew will talk to you about how you can help as well as Shadow Lake, and then we'll get into the moderated Q&A. So right off the hop, a welcome to everyone. As I said, thank you for joining us this morning. I'll just spotlight myself so you can see me. Great. It's been a difficult few months here at CLTO, of course, with the Omicron variant changing everything back at the end of last year. But I'm very happy to say that our positive trend continues. We've currently got no outbreaks here at Community Living Toronto, which is wonderful. We have a handful of staff who are either positive or waiting results, but it's quite a small number, and things seem to be proceeding quite well. We've been on this trend for some time now, and it's nice to see it continuing. That we're still doing well. People are still out in the community, but well vaccinated, well protected, doing their jobs without outbreaks seeming to start up in our homes again, which is an enormous relief to everybody I know, both within our organization and family and friends joining us this morning. It's also an opportunity for folks here at CLTO to frankly get a bit of a break because we've been going nonstop for 2 years. But particularly once Omicron took over, everything changed again. We stepped up in a big way again, and it's nice to be able to take a breather from all the rigmarole that comes along with outbreaks across the organization. So it's nice to be able to actually, look at that in the rearview mirror, take a breath, and take a pause, thinking about that. In the spirit of taking a pause, though, it is worth mentioning that today is the second annual day of observance of COVID-19, in honor of people who lost their lives to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's 2 years ago today that the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic, and now for the second year, the federal government has proclaimed the day as today as a day of remembrance for people who have lost their lives to the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, this is something we feel very personally here at Community Living Toronto because we've lost a handful of people, 5 people total, to the COVID pandemic, both staff and individuals in service. And so if you will indulge me for a second, we'll just take a quick moment of silence right off the top in honor of both of the 5 folks that we've lost over the last couple of years, but also the millions of people whose lives were lost so far over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic around the world. So here we go. Thank you. So a couple more things from me. We'll all have seen the update from the province that happened a couple of days ago. So pretty big stuff around masking and vaccines here in Ontario. I'll say a couple of things about that. So we've seen in the media that the province-wide provincial mask mandate will expire, I think March 21st is the date. For the developmental services sector, that mask mandate has been extended to April, I think 27th is the date, but certainly near to the end of April, along with a series of other orders that have helped us get through the COVID-19 pandemic. So we will continue to wear masks as we have been for the last 2 years for at least until April 27th. What happens after April 27th, we don't know. We're not quite there yet. We're working that out. But frankly, in all likelihood, masks will continue to be with us for some time here at Community Living Toronto because of the nature of the work and the vulnerable nature of the people that we support, of course. But I can tell you that regardless of what's happening province-wide, on the province-wide mask mandate expiring on the 21st, for us here at CLTO, we'll continue as we have been for at least until another month up until April 27th. On vaccines, as Brad mentioned, I think in our last webinar, the new definition of fully vaccinated at Community Living Toronto is 3 doses rather than 2. So that's 2 doses plus a booster, or put another way, a full course of your given vaccine that you received. That applies to staff, of course, as well as individuals in service. And our vaccine numbers continue to be great, and people ticking up and uploading their proof of vaccination, to us, so we know that it's done. As we've heard from Jesse in the past and from Joe Passaretti, we've done a big effort around getting vaccines out there. We are still connecting staff and folks in the community to vaccine opportunities as they come up. So if you are out there waiting for your first, second, or third dose, still having trouble getting a vaccine, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll try to hook you up with a vaccine clinic happening in your community. There was a little bit of, I mentioned this because there was a little bit of activity around the province and vaccine mandates earlier this week as well as part of that announcement. I'll say that for us at present, we are not changing our definition. So in order to work here at CLTO, you continue to have to be vaccinated. We will certainly keep you up to date if that changes, but we expect that that'll continue. But as I say, stand by for more updates there. That's pretty much the gist of the provincial update this week. So I'll turn to staff recognition. First up, thank you to Warren Lee, who's a support worker too. Warren Lee is a mentor to everybody working at Greenwood, gone above and beyond, and is truly committed to the people he supports, always encouraging to those around him to reach for their goals and want everyone to move forward within CLTO. Wonderful to work with. Thank you very much, Warren Lee, for all the great work that you do. And secondly, Linda from Human Resources. Linda is a powerhouse of a worker, one of those very reliable folks that for people like me who don't know the first thing about HR, you can call up Linda and she'll give you a hand with whatever you need. So thank you very much, Linda. You've been a dedicated member of the Recognition and Wellness Committee and supported staff very diligently, particularly over the last couple of years. Thank you very much for that. Last thing for me is the situation in Ukraine continues to evolve. It is an awful situation. I think we're all following this in media and on social media, and the stories coming out of the Ukrainian people's fight for their freedom are frankly a mix of inspirational and shocking and horrific, seeing what's going on over there. We, like lots of other employers in Toronto, we have many staff of Ukrainian descent. We have lots of members of Ukrainian descent and lots of people we support of Ukrainian descent. And just a reminder that we stand in solidarity with the Ukrainian community through this very difficult time. It is, as I say, it is frankly shocking to watch this happening in 2022, and my heart breaks and our collective hearts break for the people of Ukraine going through this awful, awful, awful invasion. I'll also say that we have been monitoring the situation around people with intellectual disabilities in Ukraine and what's going on there, and looking for opportunities to be useful on the ground to organizations that are caring for people with intellectual disabilities who aren't able to get out of Ukraine or their particular parts of Ukraine as the front moves and overtakes them, as well as organizations helping people get out. So if you are at all interested, folks, in supporting these organizations or being part of an effort, do please let me know, and I can hook you up with some organizations doing wonderful work on the ground. So that's it for me for now. I'll turn it over now to Angela Bradley with how you can help and Shadow Lake. Over to you, Ange.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all on a Friday morning, where it appears that spring is trying to go out like a lion. But I am wearing my summery spring yellow flowers in solidarity with the skunks that were out last night. That the smell was permeating my balcony. So hopefully the sign of the skunks and the spring forward that's happening this weekend, a little public service announcement there, making sure that you remember to throw your clocks forward 1 hour on Saturday and don't be late for wherever you're brunching on Sunday. I am always late on Spring Forward. Anyways, thank you so much to everybody out there who has been supporting us throughout the pandemic and throughout the years that I've been at Community Living Toronto. It's always amazing to see our amazing group of donors and supporters of all the work that we do. Again, there's lots of opportunities to support us. You can reach out to us directly and have a conversation. We'd love to work with you to find a good match. We're no longer sort of in need of those bulk drop-offs of items and those kinds of things. But if you have a passion that you're involved with and you'd like to talk to us a little bit about that and how it could fit with with some of the work that we do, please do reach out to us, and we would happily try to find a way to get you engaged and involved with Community Living Toronto in a different way. Also, you can always check out our website, cltoronto.ca/donate. There's often different things listed there that are happening within the organization that you might be interested in supporting, or you just want to make a cash donation, and we will, as always, put it to the best use possible. So thanks again for all that. And a special thank you we want to throw out to QP2191. This is our local union. They have actually just made a recent donation that's going to help us do some staff care packages that we're going to be sending out in the coming weeks. We got to get some time to get them together, but we wanted to take the opportunity today to really say thank you to the QP members. You're always very thoughtful regarding all the staff and the people we support at Community Living Toronto, and your generosity is really appreciated. So thank you so much. And I think Amar is on the call this morning, so thank you, Amar. Especially, please pass it on to the members. And of course, Shadow Lake. I want to make a shout out to all the Shadow Lakers who join these calls faithfully and message me on a regular basis. We had a very successful winter camp a couple of weeks ago, which fit with the college and university spring break. Lots of adults got to go to camp and enjoy the snow. If you can enjoy the snow, yes, you can enjoy the snow. Lots of snowshoeing and sledding and snowball making, and then lots of cozy evenings by the fire and roasting marshmallows and having a great time with their friends. It was really, really, really lovely to see people able to go to camp. And next week is our March break camp for kids. So if you, the applications for March break camp are closed, but hopefully in the next session, we'll have some photos from camp, and hopefully it isn't too muddy up there. I hear there's still lots of snow, so hopefully it sticks around for the rest of March break and doesn't turn into too much mud for you to get through. But we're really looking forward to seeing some pictures of how wonderful that camp goes. And of course, summer camp is just around the corner, and we are thrilled that Shadow Lake has been going full tilt for the past year. And this summer we are open. We're going to be planning to open in May, which is our early sessions that we start offering for camp. So please go on to mycommunityhub.ca and apply for whatever session you're interested in. The weeks are themed. And if you do have questions, just reach out to the office. The phone number and email address are to the right. So you can ask them for any additional information you want about the weeks. And also, if you have any questions about what we're doing to keep people safe at camp, there is lots of great information on the shadowlakecenter.ca website. Follow us on social media, or again, reach out to the office. And there are some funding opportunities. We know that going to camp, lots of folks use their passport dollars or other funding they have available to them, but sometimes it is still a little bit out of reach. And camp isn't an inexpensive venture because we do offer such an exceptional camp with amazing staffing resources that are matched to what your needs are to attend camp and be safe. There is a Shadow Lake Camp subsidy that is available to help folks offset the cost of camp. And then there's a couple of unique bursaries and the Choices That Can Change Lives Fund. They're all different. They're all appropriate for different people. And then now that the camp is accredited under the Ontario Camps Association, there are some other opportunities that people can apply for funding that's only available for people to attend accredited camps. So please check out the OCA website for that information. And if you do need any assistance with any of these, you can reach out to Sylvie. You can contact the camp. We're happy to help you get the information you need. Some of the deadlines are coming really quickly. The Brent Bessignal bursary that this family has so generously supported for years is due on March 15th. So that's next week. It's just around the corner. Choices That Can Change Lives, you've got until the end of the month. And the Shadow Lake Camp subsidy, we've got a little bit longer with that for those who are eligible. But again, best to get going and get those applications in as quickly as possible. And there's always a need for stuff when you're running camp. Things get used very hard at camp and often don't make it to the next season. We're always looking for arts and crafts supplies, board games, water toys, and especially now that we're doing things a little bit differently for our COVID measures, and then there's a lot less sharing of items. So oftentimes when people arrive at camp, there's bins that are made up that are specific to that person or specific to their cohort. So one board game doesn't always suffice because you may have 5 groups that want to use it. So if you do have any of those things, but we do ask that they are in new condition with all pieces. It's really frustrating when we do receive things that are missing pieces or they're not in a state that can be used, and then they just become something that goes in our dumpster instead of yours. We're always in need of things like toiletry items and sunscreen and personal hygiene products, and of course sports equipment. And even better than that are cash donations. If you've got a business or a community connection that might be interested in helping us out or donating something for us to put in our online silent auction. Again, if you're interested in that, you can reach out to James, you can reach out to me. You can also reach out to Sylvie, and she'll help you out and get you connected with stuff. And of course, Friendly Connections. We love our Friendly Connections, and we know that people are loving joining us. And again, as a reminder, if you don't know what Friendly Connections is, check out connectability.ca/friendly-connections, either on your own or with somebody to give you a hand. And there's opportunities there to connect with people in whatever way works for you. And I just keep hearing great stories about all the Friendly Connections. And speaking of Friendly Connections, I know I gave a shout out to our Shadow Lakers that joined the call, but we do want to make a shout out to all the folks at Wilcox Creek. We didn't know that we had quite a following at Wilcox Creek, but we've heard recently, and especially Nicole, who's dropped us a few notes recently. And so for all of you that are out at Wilcox Creek, a big hello from me, and I know for Brad and Joe, who seem to be fan favorites, are saying hello as well, but aren't on the call this morning. So big hello out. That's your little Friendly Connection this morning. And for those of you over there, if you're looking to connect even more, you could check out Friendly Connections and maybe get involved in some great stuff there. And we're really excited to see things opening up out there in the community. And this slide was a lot of fun for my team to work on putting together, specifically Carla. Thank you, Carla. There's lots of really great activities happening in Toronto, and they're all different. Some are outdoors. So for those of you who are feeling safer about being outdoors in the community, some of these things are still asking for vaccine passports, if that's what makes you feel more comfortable. And the mask mandate is still in place until after March break. So the nice thing about that, you do know that you are going to these areas. And for those of you who are concerned about that, you will still be wearing masks, and hopefully that helps you feel a little bit safer. This information is posted, will be available on our website. So for those of you who missed this slide, or we'll pause for a minute if you need to take a screenshot, photo with your phone, because we know that March break officially kicks off tonight. So much going on. We had to have 2 slides. I was pretty excited about this Fireside Munch. I'm a big fan of the Robert Munch books, and lots of March break resources available at the bottom there. You can look at todocanada.ca. I know on Facebook there's a Entertain Kids on a Dime, I think, is a really popular feed, and parents have been giving lots of fun things and for people to do, adults, kids, teens, lots of great things to do. And maple syrup is starting to flow. So there's lots of those festivals starting to crop up as well around the province and the GTA. So happy March break, everyone. Have a great time. Let us know what you did. And of course, St. Patrick's Day next week. I know a lot of people are really excited to be Irish for a day and to sport their green. And the Irish Day parade, the St. Patrick's Day, not Irish Day, St. Patrick's Day parade is actually going to take place on Sunday, March 20th. So it's pretty exciting that that's going to be back. And it does leave from the corner of St. George and Bloor Street. So if you want to don your green and your cap and get out there and wave to the parade, that's fantastic. Otherwise, I'm sure there's lots of other communities around Toronto that are hosting fantastic St. Patrick's Day events. And send us your pics if you're celebrating. We'd love to hear about it. World Down Syndrome Day is coming up. This year's theme is what does inclusion mean? And hashtag World Down Syndrome Day. And of course, there's the Lots of Socks campaign that happens. And it's encouraging you to put on your most unique, mismatched, fun-loving socks you've got. And for those people who know me, know that I have a real thing for socks. I have fried egg socks, avocado socks, cowgirl socks. I've got all the socks. And depending on my mood, they might match, they might be mismatched. But on this Lots of Socks day, I will be sporting my eclectic, unique, mismatched socks, and I'll be sure to post a pic. So for those of you who are participating, chime in, let us know, and let's celebrate World Down Syndrome Day. And it is on March 21st. Apparently there's a typo. We've got the 26th. I believe that was last year. So it is actually March 21st. But I'm sure if you're following social media, you'll see lots of heads up and lots of time to get your socks ready. That's it for me. Happy Friday.
Great. Thank you, Angela. Let me just turn off the screen share here, though. Folks, remember you can drop in your questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen anytime. So go ahead and do that. We'll start taking questions now. And I'll just turn off the screen sharing so you can see our lovely faces. And Ange, thank you for recognizing our friend Nicole. I was about to do the same thing. Nicole is a regular listener, frequent listener, sometimes question asker. So Nicole and all the folks at Wilcox, thank you for joining, being a regular fan. We love that you're here, and look forward to doing these every couple of weeks, and hope you'll keep joining us for updates every other Friday. So good morning, Nicole. Okay, let's jump into some questions. First question I got by email is regarding the wage enhancements for the developmental services sector. I'll take that one. So folks may know that the current wage enhancements within the developmental services sector, which apply to staff on the front line across the province working in developmental services, as well as personal support workers across the province at the rate of $3, an additional $3 an hour. So that's been in place for over a year, actually. It started at the beginning of the pandemic. It ended over the summer, or the first summer of the pandemic. Then it picked up again after that first summer into the next wave. So those enhancements have been in place for a while now. We've been advocating to make those permanent for our sector, as well as for our friends in the PSW sector. I'll say that the enhancements as it stands now expire at the end of this month. But this has happened before, and what always happens is the government extends the orders another month or another couple of months or something. And what we have heard this time is that the wage enhancement order is set to expire at the end of this month. It is also being extended to April 27th, the way that all the other orders, like the one around masking, for example, that I mentioned earlier in our sector, that'll be extended. And we're getting very good signals from the government, as high up as the Premier, that the wage enhancements will be made permanent. This is our #1 advocacy priority with the sector. We continue to push for this. We will celebrate once it's done, but until it's done, we continue to push very hard to make this happen. This is a critical thing for the DS sector across the board, and we hope that it happens, and also we hope that it happens, frankly, before the election starts, which will be at the end of, excuse me, the beginning of May, so that it's done and dusted and in place when we get into the election period. So we'll certainly keep you posted on that as things evolve, but all good signals so far from the government, and look forward to giving you some good news on that soon. So Jennifer, question for you. When do you think day programs will open?
Well, day programs have opened. Our CPS locations have open. We have the Fairfax site open, and we have the East Mall site open. We have a small cohort there based on the individuals that came to those sites in the fall, and we are looking to expand those cohorts and bring on new ones. So we're still taking the same sort of approach where it's a slow, gradual expansion of reopening, just to make sure that everything is maintained and stable, and we have a good plan in case we get another wave. We're just being very careful. So out of an abundance of caution, that's how we're going about it. You should see over the next couple of weeks, other sites coming online as staff are able to come back to sites. Yeah, so that's next couple of weeks, I think, but expansion of reopening happening now.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. And Amar, a good point in the chat here. The provincial election is June 2nd, as you say, but the campaign period for the election will start approximately a month before when the provincial election campaign starts. So our hope is that this is done certainly before the election, but in particular that the wage enhancements are put in place permanently before the campaign starts at the beginning of May. That's our advocacy push. Ange, back to you, this time with a Shadow Lake question. Question is, I booked one of my residents for a week at Shadow Lake in June, and the family informed me that the week we chose now has a special family function, so they asked if I could switch the week. How do I go about doing that? She has already paid in full.
Hello, great question. This happens very often when booking slots for camp. What you need to do is reach out to the camp office, and as long as there are slots available in the week that you want to switch to, it should not be any kind of problem. So yeah, just email the office or give them a call, remembering that if you do give them a call, it is still off season at camp. So it can sometimes take a few days for people to get back to you, but it should not be a problem. If you have any challenges, just reach out to me and I'm happy to chat with you. And just before we move on, James, there's a couple of things I want to say. Laura Parsons did point out my mistake around the 26th, that it has always been the 21st, World Down Syndrome Day, because it is 21 for the 21st chromosome. Not sure how we fell on the 26th, so huge apologies for that. And hopefully on the 21st, people are going to celebrate with us. And also March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. That's an incredible month and affects a lot of the people we support and families that are connected with us. So we will celebrate that one as well.
Great. Thank you, Ange, and thank you, Laura, for giving us that background and that information. Next question is for me around mask mandates. Are mask mandates continuing to be in place at CLTO offices after March 21st as well? Yes. So we're expecting the status quo will continue as it stands now around masks until at least April 27th, which is when as I said, those orders coming from the province expire, and we're expecting, everything we're hearing from the province is that this will be the last extension of orders because the legislation under which those orders are promulgated, the Reopening Ontario Act, that actually expires as well imminently. So status quo masking at CLTO for until at least, we think, April 27th. That might change, but that's certainly the plan right now. because that our order has been extended, and then what happens next after that is still being determined. If, however, that changes, and one constant throughout the past 2 years with COVID is that on one broadcast on a Friday, I may say that's the plan for the foreseeable future, and then the plan changes the next week because the shifting sands around us. If any of that does change, though, we will let our staff and our broader community know as soon as we possibly can. But that's certainly the plan as it's standing right now. And a follow-up question to that is, do staff still need to wear the face shield as well as the mask if we are not in outbreak or in suspected outbreak or not doing close personal care? That is a very good question. I am frankly not close enough to the PPE requirements as they stand today to tell you that. I would say, because I think that's a staff question, I would say reach out to GADA here in our, thank you, GADA. She just put in the chat here. I was going to say you should reach out to GADA. GADA just informed me that yes, keep doing what you're doing on face shields as well as the mask. Thank you, GADA, for that. Next question is about Ukraine. Interesting idea, Ange, actually, for us to consider on fundraising. Question is, would CLTO consider a mail-out fundraiser to support those agencies you mentioned in Ukraine who support people with disabilities? What do you think, Ange?
Well, what we've actually done, there's tons of opportunity for people to make contributions to what's happening over in Ukraine. So what we've been actively doing is promoting the existing charities that are already doing the work, that are already connected directly with the people in Ukraine. We'd hate to, while we want to encourage as many donations as possible and as much support as possible, we wouldn't want to be a barrier to that to the support, whether it's financial or otherwise, getting to these groups faster. And by coming through us, and unfortunately, that would there would be a number of layers of processing before we could get it to the right people and into the right hands to be as effective as it possibly could. So the best thing is to support official, respected charities that are out there that are specifically geared to supporting what's going on in the Ukraine. There's a number that are very specific and focused around people with disabilities and people with an intellectual or developmental disability. There's also many that are very focused on families and the medical supplies that are needed and those sorts of things. If you need any help and you need some information about where you could effectively contribute, just drop us a note and we'll make sure to connect you with an organization that can get it there as fast as possible.
Thank you, Ange. Back to you, question regarding the March break programming. The discount code for the Science Center, do you know if it's only valid over March break?
So we've had an amazing partnership with the Science Center for a very long time. I'm going to say maybe on this one. If it isn't, there should be another one that comes right on the heels. Like I said, the Science Center has been really great at supporting Community Living Toronto and all of our members and participants. So if this one is specific to March break, there will be another one that comes right on the heels of it. But let me know if there's any trouble with using that discount code if you're trying to go beyond the March break, and we can find out what's happening there.
Thank you. Back to you this time. Who do people connect with in Friendly Connections?
Well, that depends. We have a number of volunteers and staff who are involved with Friendly Connections. So when you join Friendly Connections and you tell us what it is you want, how it is you want to connect and when you want to connect, we're going to try to find the person that can accommodate that the best and find out if somebody's available to meet that need. So some people are looking for a phone call at a specific time and a specific day of the week, or they're looking for something to be mailed out. Some of the most well-known folks are Jen is very well known to a number of people across the organization. I know that some other folks have connected with Annette, and Anne Marie has had some connections with folks. So those are some familiar names that are out there. Sarah and Felicita and Eric, I know all of them have had different connections at different times. But there's also a series of volunteers, and we will actually in the next phase of this be engaging volunteers more to become a Friendly Connection. So if you're interested in becoming a Friendly Connection, please reach out if you want to be both sides of the coin. If you're reaching out because you're feeling lonely and isolated, or if you'd like to actually become a Friendly Connection to somebody and be interacting with them on a regular basis, let us know. We'd be happy to work with you on that. great volunteer experience.
Great. Thank you, Ange. Jennifer, back to you. We've got some questions regarding specific CLTO locations. So maybe I'll give you a couple at a time. Updates on when you expect things to start up again at the Junction and Fairfax.
So at Fairfax, we currently have things happening. The reopening process, as I mentioned before, is started. We're looking to scale this up over the next couple of weeks. At the Junction, I believe it's mid-April that we're looking to. We have some staff elsewhere working on some projects right now. So however, that being said, we are still offering virtual classes from the Junction at the moment.
Great. And two more here. What about Foster's and the Scarborough ADP?
So if Foster's is meaning Main and Gerard, then that will be probably again closer to mid-April as we look to scale up our reopening efforts. And Scarborough ADP, one of the neat things that we we started doing back in the fall when we looked to reopen is we made it so that you don't necessarily need to go back to the exact location that you were before. If there's a location that's closer to you or a location that's open versus one that isn't, you can definitely go there as well. So Gooderham is looking at reopening around the beginning of April. So if that is faster than anything that happens with Scarborough ADP, please reach out to Caitlin Close. She's the supervisor attached to Gooderham, and she can help you get connected there.
Great, thank you. And question back to you, Jennifer, this time around respite. Regarding respite, a number of families have reached out asking when overnight respite for Ennerdale is reopening. Do we have a date yet?
I don't know the date off the top of my head because Derek is off right now. So I can say though that next week we have respite for March break, a day camp style respite for March break at Lawson and at Ennerdale. So if families are interested there, I checked in on the numbers yesterday. I believe there's still a few spots open unless that's changed between yesterday and today. Otherwise, next webinar we'll have more information on that.
Thank you. And one more back to you. How and when will families be notified about programs reopening?
Great question. There's a couple of ways. We do have a dedicated email for asking questions about reopening, which I'll pop in the chat after I'm done saying this. You can reach out to any of the supervisors from the sites that you previously attended, and also they will be reaching out to you. We will have emails coming out, physical mailed letters. We like that. And also Harris over at the Community Junction has a MailChimp going on. So if you're interested in getting on that list where we mail out proactively information about what's happening, then please just send Paris Gray an email, and I will also put that in the chat so that she can get you signed up for that MailChimp.
Great, thank you. Ange, over to you this time regarding the entertainment card. Sounds like you can use entertainment card for some of the events you mentioned in March break. Do you know that for sure?
Yeah, so the access to entertainment card, I'm so glad that Farah brought that up in the chat. Probably the folks that are in the chat know more about it than we do, but it is a great opportunity for folks to, you have to apply for it and get it online. It's probably gone to a digital format. The last time I had looked at it was actually a hard card you had to carry in your wallet. But you can get the access to entertainment card, and it, so they're jumping in to tell me it is digital now. And it is, I know it's promoted very heavily under the Easter Seals sites. So you can look into it. We can also get some information and make it available to folks that if you apply and get an access to entertainment card, it gives you discounts and opportunities to access entertainment at a reduced rate.
Great. Thank you, Ange, and thank you, Farah, for asking that out there. Can you follow that up? Great question from Debbie. What is a MailChimp? I think that was actually Jennifer Steffler who mentioned that. Jen, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. MailChimp is just a piece of software that we use for email campaigns and that we share information via. So essentially, you have to agree to get, it's an email list, right? So you have to agree to get emails from us, and then Paris maintains the list of people who are registered to receive that information. And we use it to send out information about the fee-for-service options that we have. We're using it for the reopening information as well. So that's essentially what it is.
Unfortunately, not chimpanzee.
No.
And you know
unfortunately.
what? The information that you've been getting to know to come on this webinar every 2 weeks comes through MailChimp.
There you
There you
go.
go. Great. Thank you both. Next question is back to me about vaccine mandates. The question is, the province announced that the vaccine mandates will be changing as of March 14th. So question is, and our CLTO staff still to have all 3 doses if they are eligible by March 15th, 2022? Yes, short answer is yes. The definition of fully vaccinated at CLTO is 3 doses. We, again, currently, as it stands today, our vaccine mandate remains in place. So in order to do the kind of work that you need that requires full vaccination in CLTO, you need 3 doses by March 15th, and staff are asked to upload their proof of vaccination using our online portal, where they can do that pretty easily. I will say, though, there is one sort of asterisk to that, which is that as always, your medical doctor, the primary medical professional in your life should be the main point of contact on timing of this, because if you have had COVID, there's often advice around how long you should wait after your COVID resolves before you get your booster shot. So if you have any questions at all, the right person to ask about your particular situation is your doctor, to get a ruling from him or her about when you should get your booster if you have had COVID in the last little bit. But our general rule across the board is staff are asked to get their booster and provide proof of vaccination of their booster, or proof of access to their booster, by March 15th to us, which is coming up next week. And also a question back to me again, is the rapid antigen test still required for family members entering the home after March 21st? Yes, looks like that right now. It doesn't look like we'll be changing that. Again, if it does change, we will let you know as soon as we do, but that certainly remains the plan as it stands today. Also back to me, when is the main office at 20 Spadina planning to open? Great question. We hope to reopen our offices, like our more administrative and corporate offices, very soon. Things are looking great. Things are in good shape generally across the board. So we'll be saying more about that very soon. We hope that to be able to open our doors a little bit more to staff, to come back to, say, our headquarters at 20 Spadina. Masking, though, will remain in effect, so that won't change, as will screening. Active screening will remain part of the process of coming into our offices, and we'll say more about that. Lastly, though, we have moved towards more remote work as well, so it won't be everybody coming back to the office all at once at any particular day, but rather staff are working with their supervisors and their managers and directors around who's coming in, when they're coming in, do they need to come in, that kind of thing. So it's all moving, but certainly we will be more open quite soon at our offices, including 20 Spadina. I think, one more question back to Jennifer. Jennifer, do you see big changes at the Fairfax site re-numbers, as it is a rather large program with capacity limits and stuff?
Yeah, I think the general message that we've been saying on these webinars and in different places for the last 2 years is that we can't go back to the way that it was. This pandemic was a pandemic, but there could be further. So we are looking to change things regarding numbers in our CPS locations. And so a perfect example of what kinds of things we're looking at is when we did our risk assessment for Maine and Gerard, or Foster's. We learned that due to physical distancing, we can only have 17 individuals at a time in our space versus 38, which it used to be. So definitely expect that there will be changes in numbers for people to be in the space at one time.
Thank you, Jennifer. That looks like about it for questions, folks. So thank you very much for submitting your questions and joining us today. Let me get our slide deck back up on the screen here. As always, our next broadcast is going to happen in 2 weeks, this time on Friday, March 25th at 9:30 a.m. Hope you can join us. You'll be getting the invitation to register for that in the next week or so, so look out for that in your inbox. In the meantime, stay safe, stay warm. Hope you get to enjoy the burgeoning spring weather as well as the start of reopening across the province. I, for one, look forward to going to the movies this weekend. Can't wait, haven't been to a movie in 2 years. And I'll be there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Sunday to see Casablanca at my local theater. Can't wait. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Happy Friday, change your clocks.